Hi everybody. Did you know that the United States Senate proclaimed January 11, 2008 as Human Trafficking Awareness Day? And that had a local flavor here in Oxnard because on January 11th, the Oxnard Police Department and the Oxnard Soroptomists group teamed up together to kind of promote this day at the Transportation Center. Check it out. Every day in small towns and big cities and countries throughout the world, women and girls are being trafficked into a horrible life of sexual slavery. Almost 1 million people, the majority of them women and girls, are trafficked across international borders each year. Often tricked into traveling for work, these women face unendurable pain and humiliation. They are stripped of their human rights. They are bought and sold like objects. They are trapped in a life of degradation and abuse. Some of the signs that you might want to look for, especially around transportation centers: look for a woman who appears to be fearful or depressed and is not on her own. She's being closely watched. She does not have possession of her paperwork and money. She has no luggage. She may show some signs of physical abuse, and often she won't speak the native language.
Today is January 11th, 2008. It is the day that was designated by the U.S. Senate, recognizing today as National Human Trafficking Awareness Day.
I'd like to start by looking back in time. You look back to 1865, when the 13th Amendment was passed and abolished slavery in the United States. Yet, despite this, it continues to exist. Though persons are no longer sold openly in public markets or in town squares, this problem has continued to be a latent problem in our communities. It's like a fingerprint. It's there, but you don't necessarily see it unless you look for it very, very carefully. It exists from coast to coast and at times in our own neighborhoods. But what I'd like to do this afternoon is take a moment to share with you an actual case that Oxnard Police Department handled and talk to you a little bit about its outcome. Juana had come to the United States from Mexico during the previous year in search of both opportunity and a job and a source of income. After a year had passed, she had paid a coyote $2,000 to bring her 12-year-old daughter into the country. The money was paid in cash to a third party who then took it to this coyote. About a week later, she received a telephone call from the traffickers, who then now demanded an additional $5,000 from her, which she definitely didn't have. The traffickers demanded that she produce this money to them, or her daughter, her 12-year-old daughter, would be sold into prostitution. Juana took it upon herself to stand up to these people. So what she did was she enlisted the help of a friend, and then she went from neighborhood to neighborhood throughout the city with a picture of her daughter, showing people, "Have you seen this girl?" thinking that she was somewhere in Oxnard. She reported being followed by other people and harassed by other people who were associated with the coyotes because they apparently had developed some type of a network where they were able to communicate with each other. She was confronted by somebody who actually told her that if she did not produce the $5,000 immediately or within the next day, that her daughter would be killed. Now, can you imagine the anxiety that she is feeling here? Her 12-year-old's in such a bad position. Feeling no way out, she contacted the Oxnard Police Department, and upon taking her statement and evaluating the situation, our officers contacted and assisted federal agencies. In this case, due to what the conditions were, the FBI. Juana was placed in a safe location as the investigation ensued. With the agencies working together and through a number of investigative means, the investigators were able to pinpoint the exact location, the exact house where her daughter was being held, or at least where the coyotes were. And shortly thereafter, federal agents, in addition to the Phoenix Police Department's SWAT team and other federal agencies out there, they were able to locate her 12-year-old daughter safely, along with 40 other people at this house. This was a fortunate case since it resulted in a happy ending. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and this is only a mere fraction of what we hear about. The U.S. State Department estimated that in the year 2003, between 600,000 and 800,000 persons were victims of human trafficking. These figures can only be estimated because the lack of an effective estimation mechanism is not in place. Combine that with the low reporting figures from people that are afraid to step forward for a number of reasons.
Thank you, Debbie, for inviting us here, and thank the Soroptomists chapter here in Oxnard, and all those visiting us, and all those that are going to be engaged in passing out information so we can draw attention to this insidious activity. As Debbie indicated, the council did in fact present a proclamation making that day. We presented it as the day to abolish and stop trafficking. But every day should be that day. So I appreciate all the work that you'll be doing to inform the people out there. I'm not wearing red today, not because I did not want to wear red, but I am seething, and we've had situations here, as our chief, Jason Benitez, indicated, examples of that happening here. We've had some in our surrounding cities that happened to our agricultural workers, and it happens in most areas where we do find individuals, we do find, in fact, companies, and we do find firms that wish to proceed and ignore the human aspects of everything that we do with respect to our enterprises. So I thank you for being here. Welcome, and know that all the resources that we have are at their disposal to stop this human trafficking. Thank you very much.
Now feel the spirit. Feel the spirit in this room. So what I want you to try to do, say 3 times. We're going to say, stop trafficking. We're going to do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stop trafficking. 1, 2. Stop trafficking. Stop trafficking. That's what I'm talking about. There's a special place in hell for people who engage in human trafficking. A very special place in hell. It is a crime that reaches deep into the soul of the victim. It is a crime that is perpetrated on people who are helpless, who are victimized, and who are made to feel as though they have no power. And because it is that kind of a crime, it carries with it a special kind of pain. I have a 19-year-old son. I'm here today because I'm going to go home and tell my 19-year-old son that I stood with the Soroptomists, and I stood with brave and courageous women fighting against human trafficking, and as a 19-year-old, he has an obligation to stand up and fight human trafficking too. Am I right? I have here a certificate of recognition from the California State Assembly for the Soroptomist International of Oxnard. Special recognition and commendation are conveyed for raising awareness and educating the public about human trafficking, for helping to improve the lives of women and girls in our community and around the world. Thank you so very much, Soroptomist International. Very welcome. Thank you. Keep fighting.
These victims often find themselves in these foreign countries unable to speak the language, unable to really fit in, and there are many times their documents are withheld, and there are threats that are made against not only themselves personally, but their families back home from where they came. And it's because of that coercion that's involved, and that's what makes this crime such a heinous act that's perpetrated out in our public today. In order to successfully investigate and prosecute these traffickers, that the victims must be stable and free from any fear and intimidation that they might be feeling when dealing with a government entity. Because of that, we have nationwide approximately 300 agents that are assigned to victim and witness coordination duties. And that's one of their sole duties that they occupy. And it's dealing with victims of crimes and witnesses to crimes, making sure that they're taken care of and that that the process is explained to them and that they understand what's going to be asked of them along the way. A person in a human trafficking situation, that they reach out to their local law enforcement or to my office. And I've got a number here that you can reach out to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. These folks are always on the clock, and that number is 1-866, the letters DHS, the number 2, ICE. And I wanted to thank you again for your time today.